What's up, gang? It's a episode of the podcast, but not as you used to know it. Oh my god, that's terrible. Let's just keep going. This is a .5 episode.
It's a part. It's a point five
this
episode.
is just an excuse for us to
Tell
talk
'em.
about stuff that's not within the podcast. So I guess we're just going to start. There was a Doctor Who Christmas special that we were a month late to watching, but now we've watched it.
Yeah.
Not many great things to say. On my end.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It still wasn't great though. For a Christmas special, I guess I say that, but then you look at the '60s specials, and you're like, well, I guess it doesn't matter really. Specials don't have to be amazing anymore. Lol.
Did you end up seeing the '60s specials?
No, I skipped them, to be honest with you, because the clips got farmed immediately online. Like, I saw all of it. That's kind of a problem with a lot of popular shows.
Yeah. Okay.
But luckily that didn't happen for this one, because no one cares about this. And also I stayed away from Doctor Who content.
Okay, just before we start, I guess I probably speak for both of us when I say neither of us want to hate this show. We're not one of those...
Yeah, we're pretty big fans, guys.
Of those, bull-headed anti-woke channels that just likes to dunk on it just because. I think we're...
It's black! Sorry. It's just... Can you remember when that was freaking people out? That was fun. In like a the world is poison kind of way.
I didn't look too much into that. I couldn't be bothered. So, it's
probably good. Probably good. You don't need to know.
Anyway, so you know that we're both pretty big fans. Me especially. I think I'm unhealthily obsessed. So.
And I'm trying to catch him up on that one. We're gonna see how it goes.
I have to say, I haven't felt this apathetic about the show since the end of Whittaker's era, which wasn't actually that long ago.
Oh.
I just could not.
Okay.
I could not care less if I didn't see this special, and I hate saying that, but I just didn't I didn't care about it.
It seems very. It seems very mediocre. Like it kind of just exists. I guess we should get into why that is a bit. What do we want to do first?
I don't have.
It's going to be pretty short anyway, because
I don't have my notes organized into categories, so...
How dare you? I do, but I only have 200 words, so it's not that bad.
Either. I don't know, it's just... We'll get through the easy stuff. Music, Murray Gold is fine.
Oh, I didn't even look at the music. I didn't even think about it.
I guess have one note here, but they play the 15th Doctor's theme song right at the start, but it's not... His theme is almost like a military march. It's quite energetic, so it didn't make sense going at the start of this episode because he's just running around asking people, for their handing out the tray of food.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like an epic intro thing, especially with the World War II part at the beginning. But yeah, I do get what you mean. It's just kind of random.
Really bad way to open the episode, I thought. Like it's fine. It was fine for the trailer because it's like witty, but I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't set
I guess I didn't really care about that at all. I mean, I get what you mean. I guess I was waiting for them to open their mouths a lot of the time, like actually say something important, get the story going during the intro, and. Yeah, then it started to happen.
Like, we could have just had...
this thing...
We could have just had the title sequence right out the gate and then started the story. We didn't need that.
Yeah. So, I guess... Should we just go through plot stuff, I guess?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I don't know if you'd agree with me, but the part with Anita was the best part of the episode.
Yeah, I felt like their connection was like the highest of anything. Kind of like, yeah, it actually, that's such a terrible way to say that. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It felt like a bit more of a real connection than compared to Ruby Sunday and the Doctor's adventures. I like that he actually, It's not the first time that the Doctor's been forced to do random stuff for a long period of time, but it was pretty
It's
interesting to be in the hotel for that long. It was a cool
yeah.
dynamic they had, you know.
It's. I was gonna
Uh,
say it's.
but she's not. But the thing, I'm surprised that she's not going to be the
I
next
know
companion
that
by
was
the
such a
looks
great
of it.
setup. Like, and they had so
I
much
really thought that that's
chemistry.
what the end.
Oh,
Yeah, the end scene where it's like, oh, do you want to work at the Time Hotel? I'm like, why isn't that him with the
yeah.
TARDIS or something? You know what
Oh,
I mean?
such a.
Like, there was this big thing about the similarities between the TARDIS and a hotel room and all that stuff. And so the fact that she's not connected to any of it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
It's kind of a missed
it's
opportunity because I'm guessing something really cool will happen next
it's
season,
so
totally.
bizarre that in this one season of the show we've had what is it, like 3 characters who could have been better companions than the
Oh
actual
yeah, I
companion.
have a new one to be honest. Even though he's not like super amazing or anything, Trav would have been a better companion than
Yeah,
Ruby ever was. And I think the same thing is true of
yeah.
Anita. Is
I
that how you
think it was
say it?
Anita.
I'll, one thing I'll say is this: a lot of this is not very memorable. I literally finished it 10 minutes
Yeah.
ago, and I don't remember a lot of it to be honest. Oh, 20 minutes ago.
Look,
But
that
yeah,
actually
I don't know. Pretty.
you could have even had like a double TARDIS team, like a duo with those 2 characters. It could have been interesting.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god.
yeah. I mean, it seems like he's supposed to be wanting to be less
Yeah.
lonely at this point. So doing something like that makes a lot of sense to me. It's literally the last thing Joe told him to do. So the fact that the last scene wasn't him picking Anita up really
Yeah.
surprised me, confused me. I think it's plainly just like it seems like RTD is really attached to his shitty ass companions, I
Yeah.
guess. And then so this person can't be a companion.
It's also a
You
bit
know what I
bizarre
mean?
because from the trailers, I don't. Oh, I showed you the trailer for the next season, didn't I? I don't know if you watched it, or maybe I.
I don't think
Okay.
I watched it. I didn't even know it came
Oh,
out.
it's like a
I thought it
It's
was
not a proper
still
trailer. It's like a
waiting on that.
teaser, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Teaser trailer.
it
Yeah.
seems like the
Okay.
next companion is going to be another one who accidentally gets kidnapped and she wants to go back home, but the TARDIS keeps not going back to Earth.
Uh,
Like,
doesn't really
if
seem
he's
like a
no,
good dynamic.
it's worked throughout the show and it's a fine dynamic. It can be interesting, but at this stage, if he's actively looking for companionship, wouldn't it make sense for him to have someone who wants to travel with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most involved relationships he's had with a person for a
Yeah,
while. Spending every day around someone for the Doctor is incredibly strange. He says that himself, like, just living every day to day normal for that long. The fact that she doesn't become a companion is just doesn't make
no.
any sense. I hope she comes back up at some point, but I doubt that RTD will really want to touch that unless Moffat gets some more
She's
episodes.
probably slipped into the same
I
void
don't.
that Rogue has. That's not happening again.
Yeah. God, if I really look, I know it's unlikely. I really hope that Rogue comes back before, like during this Doctor's
Yeah.
tenure, but it probably won't happen,
I was thinking about it
unfortunately.
today. Like, it
Uh,
seems like that episode was set up to have him come back, but seeing that it was written
it
by
might, yeah,
outside writers, like external writers, it seems like it's just going to be
yeah,
gone. Uh,
yeah. That really sucks. I won't lie. It's very annoying when the person who has the big vision about what the whole show is going to be is routinely making the worst
yeah.
content. Because yeah, it does push everyone else out. Like because they can't do their own thing that will actually impact the show that
Mm.
much. Unfortunately, so yeah, definitely a missed opportunity there. In the writing. So I guess
I,
okay. So the Time
yeah.
Hotel thing is a kind of a cool concept. I don't know if I would call it squandered,
I mean,
but
it was.
I think it could come back at some point. Yeah, yeah, it could. I'm saying that maybe they should bring it
Yeah.
back at some point. I don't know, maybe not. It's an idea. Does it make much sense in terms of the grand canon of the show? Not
Okay,
really,
I
if
have
you
to
think
say
about it.
this. I know I'm being really nerdy and nitpicky right now, but I think the episode is set or the hotel is in like the 41st century or something. And I'm pretty sure humans didn't get time travel technology until like the 50th or 51st century. So
Oh,
that annoyed my inner nerd.
yeah. Um, I mean, I guess yeah. The thing is, technically, since they're hotel rooms, I guess it doesn't really change anything that the Doctor's done. But it's weird that time travel is apparently super easy to
Yeah.
use at some point in history, in human history.
It's like,
You know what I mean? Because it's about human
yeah.
history specifically. So it's
Like,
I don't know. I don't care that much. It's just kind of whatever.
yeah, I know.
I think every writer, doesn't matter who it is, has kind of been treating time like less. I don't know. They're going a lot with the wobbly, wimey, timey, wimey ball of space kind of approach. I feel like. Does that make you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I personally don't like that much, but it's a cool concept at
Mm-hmm.
least. Should do more with it. I caught a literary device. All of those years of English have taught me so well. When they microwave the stuff in the future, it's about the star, and he says that, and it's like foreshadowing
Oh,
and stuff. You know? Um,
very cool.
yeah, that's that's a that's something you put on a page and you do later. It's
That's awesome.
crazy.
I about the time hotel. I
Yeah,
thought
sorry.
maybe I maybe I wasn't thinking about it properly, but it seemed weird to me that the Doctor would be so head over heels with this idea. It
Yeah, it does seem like something that where he'd be like, "This is a very big responsibility that I don't think the average person
that
should have." Maybe like to
Yeah,
go through time
that
like
and the
that.
commercialization of time travel, especially commercializing people's assassinations, I feel like
Yeah,
that felt a bit odd.
I guess that's the whole thing. It's kind of weird. They don't really explain how much of it is visiting and how much of it is directly changing time because Joy changes time
Hmm.
using it technically, but the star seems to exist in all time places that the hotel is connected to, I guess. But it seemed to happen in some point in real history. It's kind of
Yeah.
confusing because Joy's mother sees it
Hmm.
at one point, but why would the hospital count as like a hotel
I
room?
don't think I don't
I
think
guess
the
I
star
guess
is linked to the hotel.
it didn't have no. Oh, no. Well, no. She used these. Well, yeah, but that means that. Sorry, I'm being stupid right now. What I'm getting at is that the rooms allowed her to change all of human history, not just like
Yeah. Yeah.
simultaneously, because they went to the far past. So that seems kind of dangerous. I don't really know how that works if people are just allowed to do what they want
Hmm.
in the past. Um, yeah, normally this kind of setup has a you can't change
Yeah.
the rule, like the you can't change anything kind of rule. I
Like
don't
it
know what
feels
happened
like
there.
in a regular episode.
Wouldn't some of these things be a fixed
Yeah,
point
it
as
feels
well? I
like
don't.
in a regular episode, the Doctor would discover the time hotel, find that it's being abused, and shut it down. But it feels a bit weird for
Yeah,
him to be
Well, I feel like
promoting it.
because they're going with some more fantasy stuff, it feels like some institutions and random things they find are now supposed to be fun and
Yeah.
whimsical. Doesn't really make. You're right. That would be a more normal story and probably a better one overall. But I think if I'm guessing, that's why they have stopped questioning
Hmm.
certain things in these days because it is supposed to be more
Yeah.
whimsical. I think that's all I can assume because I don't know. Like the goblins stealing kids, in the first Christmas special, like that's kind of really
Yeah.
crazy, but it's just normal
Hmm.
now. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Where I think some of the writing for the grand scale stuff has gone a bit out the window a little bit. I don't
Oh
know
well,
what
no, I
that's
think.
about.
Look, I don't know the guy personally, surprisingly, but I get the impression that Russell just wants to have fun with the show now. After, I guess
That's what it
his
feels
era
like.
was relatively dark.
Was it?
So
Yeah,
I don't know. It,
yeah. It's just a little too
like you
much,
can
I
have your
think.
fun, whimsical, like in the classic era, you can have fun, whimsical adventures, but like you can still balance it out with more slightly more mature stuff. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the most surprising part to me, at least, about the classic series, is that it wasn't all goofy, random stuff. Some of the most impactful stuff, like the fourth Doctor and the
Yeah.
Daleks. they do a lot of stuff in the old series that you wouldn't think, like, yeah. And I does kind of feel like they're stepping away from that a bit much, but at the same time, they're trying to make it sad by being like, "You're a sad man with no chairs."
Oh god, okay, do we want to get onto this now?
I, yeah, yeah. Let's go to that part of
Okay.
the plot or
I
character. It's
think
the same shit. There's not much
I
plot in
think
this whole
I mentioned
episode.
this to you when the trailer for this special came out, how stupid it was. Like, he spent God knows how long
Yeah,
doing self therapy and he still hates himself. I know. Look, I
yeah,
have to clarify, we don't actually know what the self therapy entailed. So it could just be coming to terms
yeah,
with the timeless child and the flux and the confession dial and all that grisly stuff. But he's meant to be a
yeah,
super. Now, there is a world where this characterization really worked. It's kind of tragic, but the doctor spends all that time healing himself and then he tries to be super bubbly and upbeat and optimistic about everything. And then he realizes that the universe just isn't compatible with that attitude.
yeah. And like something really bad happens. He like gets a new companion and they die in the first episode. Kind of like, or something like that. Maybe not that extreme, but you know, something bad happens. Kind of like if you remember near the end of oh,
Chibnall?
why am I forgetting everyone's name? The
Oh,
12
Capaldi?
Doctors. No, I was going to
Yeah.
say Capaldi. Yeah. During Missy's adventures, they start out very innocent until the stuff with the
Yeah.
Saxon Master and then the finale of his tenure. And something like that vibe
Yeah.
could work very well for what I think you're saying, because that was a much more hopeful tone for the show when Missy was being more
Mm-hmm.
normal, and then that kind of
Yeah.
got fucked up, and that was good. And Moffat wrote that too,
Yeah.
so you know, that's maybe do that
Even
again. I
if
don't know.
I mean we are kind of going back to the last season, but even like Dot and Bubble when he encounters the racism, or I'm trying to remember the
Yeah,
last season. It's all disappearing. Or when he loses Rogue, things like that. Like little,
yeah.
like the building blocks are there, but it's just not built upon. Like it doesn't.
It's really weird. This is
I was just going to
sorry.
say, none of those events really change his character at all throughout the season. That's it.
Yeah, it's what I was going to say is throughout that whole season, especially the finale, the way that they're characterizing his emotions is I don't know if it really makes sense. It's not really what the Doctor normally does. It's not that like being particularly sad or crying isn't like a normal reaction to some of that stuff. It's that normally that's when the Doctor gets angry and self-loathing. If you look at the tenth,
Yeah.
Tennant's era, then it's like when something bad happens, he gets really pissed off and upset. He doesn't like it. Doesn't but that's like how they're treating him being lonely, but not when the world gets
Yeah.
destroyed. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like he's supposed to blame himself for stuff, but then it only matters for the little things. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just a bit inconsistent on that part. Again, I don't know how much you can blame Moffat for this, considering that's the tone of the show
Yeah.
now. But it does. You can definitely see it in this episode. So it's a
It
shame.
doesn't even make sense for him to hate himself over losing Ruby because she
She's still
yeah,
alive and
but she
happy,
told him
and he can talk to her
there isn't
whenever he
even a
wants.
shred of doubt that she may have left him because he did something to upset her. Like she just wants to live with her family. He doesn't need to worry about
Yeah,
that, and it's just I don't. It doesn't make any sense.
yeah. It's a very weird thing. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Uh,
I think the
I don't
problem
know. I
here
don't
is
like it.
Moffat was trying to do something slightly more serious while keeping in some campy elements, but it's really or what is it, clashing with Russell's mood, vibe. Like they're not connecting at all.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. I think overall, the like that is definitely true for Moffat and RTD, but I would say that RTD. Why do I always call him that? Russell T Davis. I do know his name, guys. I'm just crazy, saving time and everything. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of even though that's more clear with Moffat because of his style. I think that's kind of Russell's whole
Yeah,
problem, at least a little bit. He expects like he expects the praise that he got from his original series while just having
yeah.
fun instead of writing. well, like actually writing properly, because no one thought that the Ruby plotline was cute or funny at the end, or it's like, aha, that's so clever. But it felt like he wanted people to
Yeah.
think it was clever, which, yeah,
I think
it's kind of a whole problem.
he just has to sit back, stop writing whole scripts, and just look over scripts
Let other people
and
do it
guide
for.
the vision.
I would say just, yeah, half retire at
Yeah,
this point, because for some reason they won't give the showrunner to anyone else, but it's clear he doesn't want it that much. So let other people do it for you, and just read over the scripts, because that is ultimately his probably the most important thing a showrunner is
yeah,
supposed to do, is look the final print of
and
things.
just sorry, you go.
Um, yeah. Oh no, that I was gonna maybe
No,
bring up a
that's
different
cool.
whole other topic. Let's see what else I have here. I guess I'll talk about the villain
Yeah,
concept. I thought it was like sufficiently creepy, not like super scary, but
yeah,
it was cool. It's fucked up how the people die
mm-hmm.
and stuff. I'm surprised that people actually died in the
Yeah,
Christmas episode. That's probably Moffat influence, because I yeah, it didn't really feel like that makes much sense in the modern one. I mean, people did die occasionally in season one, but the stakes felt a lot
yeah,
lower.
yeah. I agree with that. Um,
But this one kind of raised those stakes a little
yep.
bit.
I thought it was fine.
Um,
I don't
yeah,
have a lot to say there. It was a big enough
yeah,
threat to not be insubstantial, but it wasn't so over the top that it just wasn't believable. It was just
yeah,
enough, easily palatable for a Christmas special.
yeah. See, the thing is, I normally like when the Doctor takes down corporation stuff. We all know about Kablam being the best episode of the show.
No,
Everyone
no,
go watch Kablam. It's
Arachnids
the
in the
best
UK
episode.
was so much better, Mitchell.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen it. There's this one video. I can't remember the YouTuber, which makes me feel sad. But it's just like this one guy. It's a really good video on Blam, and it compares Capaldi's when he's in space and he goes
Oh
blind. You know that
yeah,
episode.
yeah. I think I've seen that.
I've watched that video like multiple times, because it's just that episode is so
Yeah.
bad, and it's so yeah. But yeah, so I normally like when they do that kind of stuff, but it feels kind of disconnected. You've got like this very creepy parasitic kind of villain, and then it's actually a
Yeah.
corporation. I I guess it makes sense. You could even put some symbology there to connect it, but it just kind of doesn't like really add up that much. I feel like normally this would be some kind of like single entity monster
Yeah.
kind of
The
thing.
inclusion of
Um,
look, I think at some point Moffat said he.
like that.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, I can't remember the name of the episode. That's really annoying me. But it's like that Superman
Oh,
rip off
Doctor
Christmas
Mysterio.
special. Doctor Mysterio, right? It kind of feels like a Doctor Mysterio kind of villain, where it's like those aliens that go
Yeah.
inside of people, and yeah, that's what it feels like. And then it's a random corporation.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I just don't know if it stylistically adds up
Mm-hmm.
that well.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
I mean, I was just
Sorry,
saying,
you
like
go. My bad.
the inclusion of Villain Guard just feels like really easy fan service. I don't. Big.
See, yeah, sorry. Can you explain any of that? Because I don't know about
Okay,
that at
so
all.
I think it was Moffat's first episode for the revised series. It was the or maybe it was the Doctor Dancers. It was that two-parter with the Oh god, I've forgotten their names. The empty child, the gas masks. You haven't seen that? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I've actually seen the whole thing. I don't know. In Australia, guys, I'll be honest with you. Getting the 2005 Doctor Who thing, kind of hard if you're not buying it.
Yeah.
To be honest, these days, it's kind of terrible. If you're not in the UK, then you probably know how that feels.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
At one point that episode, Captain Jack uses a sonic blaster, and the Doctor mentions he knows what it is. Jack mentions he got it from Villain Guard, or the weapon factories. I think the Villain Guard weapon factories, but they're not there anymore. Somebody blew them up, and the Doctor says, "Yeah, I know," implying he blew them up. Yeah,
He blew it up. Yeah.
and
Okay.
that's basically it. It's just a reference.
Is it? Is that really how you say it?
Yeah,
Villain guard. That like
villain
villains.
guard.
That's That's a little on the
Yeah, a
nose.
little bit.
I know that's not how it's spelt. Like it's VIL, probably
Yeah.
like one L probably. I'm guessing. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah. But okay, so that I did think that that probably was something. I feel like if it was like if he wanted to connect things more, would he not connect the weapons dealer stuff to the Boom episode and that stuff like the Space
Could have
Anglican
done,
stuff?
yeah.
I, I
Look,
I don't know. That was
I
just
have a.
my only thought. But considering that Villain Guard already exists in Doc 2, I guess it'll
I
it's
have.
fine. I've
I
just
have a
never heard of
feeling
them
we
before.
might be coming back to this when we're talking about the next season, because apparently Moffat had to read Russell's script for the finale when he was writing this one. So there's stuff in here that's building up to the next season, even if we don't know it. I don't
Okay,
know. Well,
that's interesting.
I definitely think that stuff about the seed will be planted and the flesh will rise. Well, that's coming back.
Yeah, that does seem like a thing. You know what was interesting is there was no Miss Rivers, not rivers, floods.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which is interesting because are we just going to drop that plot point too, or this is why I feel like Russell's writing for Ruby was so inconsistent that now I don't know if any of
Well,
that
there
mattered
was one
at all.
moment.
I
There
assume it
was.
will, where she gets really fourth wally, but also like, because she's technically
Yeah.
talking to someone, but she gets all old Gotti and
Yeah.
stuff.
There was.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird
There
plot
was one
line,
moment
but you
where,
know.
oh my god, I've forgotten his name. The guy in the hotel who died. Oh my god,
Uh,
Trav.
Trav.
Thank you.
Or
No, that's
the
right. You're
magic.
right, Trav.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Okay.
write that down so I don't forget it again. I think there was one point when he was dying. He turned to the camera and said, "I let him down." Maybe.
Yeah, I think he was. This is the thing. A slight story thing is that Joy talks to her room at one
Oh no, she's
point.
talking to a fly.
Um. Oh really? I
Nice
didn't even
fly
see that.
alive.
That really? That's so. That okay? That's just as lazy. The point I was trying to make is it feels like they're trying to do fourth wall breaky stuff without actually doing it. I don't know if that's just a stylistic choice to have characters talk about things that they don't need to, or
I don't
what.
know.
But
I
you
think
know,
with her talking to the.
yeah,
I guess this can be a segue talking about Joy if you want, but with
yeah, sure.
with her talking to the fly, I think they were trying to do. He's very quirky and awkward. Oh god.
Yeah,
She really annoyed me.
You know, I don't want to be that. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy that's like everything when it gets bad is connected to Disney's influence. But quirky characters are really a Disney plague. If you look at the animated films, they're all quirky now. Every character. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's actually a thing, but I didn't quite like her. I thought her backstory annoyed me. I mean, I don't know how bad the UK lockdown was. I heard it was pretty bad,
it was.
but it kind of felt anti-COVID restrictions a little.
I think.
I don't know. I don't care. It's just a weird thing to bring up in 2025.
I think.
Maybe it's relatable for some people in the UK. I don't know.
Moffat, because the Partygate stuff that happened over there. Oh, okay.
No. I'm sorry.
During the lockdowns, Boris Johnson and his cabinet had a bunch of parties.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That one about parties. I thought that was about rich people. I didn't know that was the government.
I get the impression Moffat was trying to include a message about how bad the government is and how hypocritical that government was and all that. But
yeah.
I think he fumbled it.
That's pretty par for the course for the UK. Hey boys, am I right? No one from the UK is watching because no one's watching. But up the Tories, lol. No, I'm kidding. Up the Ra, just like George Nigel said.
I feel like that could have been an interesting character journey for her. So because she talks about not liking men and not like not wanting to be mansplained or anything, it
Yeah,
would make sense.
that's another thing.
Like if she
Yeah,
was
we
sorry,
yeah.
if she
Sorry,
was
sorry.
super against authority, particularly male authority, because of what happened during the lockdowns and how bitter she is about that, that would make sense. That's character motivation and all that, but
Yeah,
it doesn't come across.
but it was actually just a way for her to wake up from her thing, and she's actually a really nice lady who'd never does anything wrong, and it's a really weird scene. The one thing I will say about it is at least it proves that Shooty can actually does have
Yeah,
range. I'll be honest. A lot of his sad acting in the first season was kind of shit. At least I was pleasantly surprised he could seem like he was actually like being mean to someone pretty well.
yeah,
I don't know if that'll ever come back again, but 12 had my angry Scottish eyebrows are succeeding from my face, and angry Doctor is
yeah.
pretty cool, but they haven't. Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, I guess we're
Um,
done with Joy. There's nothing else to say about her. She was super boring.
well, I guess we can talk about her. I guess we can talk about her end. I
Sure,
guess.
while we're here.
Pretty weird and random. I get stars and hope and Christmas and the tree and the star on the tree and stuff. It's a very cliche and a little cringe.
Yeah,
The ending with Joy. I'll
yeah,
be real. And to be honest with you, I like the manager who got 3 lines when he died more. I thought I had a more emotional impact. Wasn't very much, but I had more emotional connection to that guy than really the ending,
yeah,
I think. Which kind of shows it's a little. I feel like it was too sappy to where this. I'm like, this is a TV show for kids.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a Christmas episode. Because I don't know about you, but I don't particularly care about Christmas that much. So I don't know. The super sappy
Yeah.
ending for me was a little much. Joy to the world. At least the Doctor didn't start singing
Oh,
out of
thank God. I
nowhere.
hope we're over that now. I think he got it out of his system. You know what? There was. Well, this isn't even
Yeah.
related to this episode, but for the Beatles episode when they start singing at the end, there was a deleted scene where the Doctor explains things are going to get a bit kooky while the music is flooding back into the
Because of
universe.
the. Yeah, I
Oh,
remember.
dear.
Yeah, you did
Okay.
tell me. Yeah.
Anyway, that just
Yeah.
annoyed me.
I there is a massive history of like really crucially and like interesting scenes being cut from mainstream like media for no reason. I don't know what directors are
Yeah.
thinking sometimes. The most like because we were looking at Marvel stuff last episode, I was thinking about there's like this deleted scene where in Infinity War, no, not Infinity War, Civil War, where basically it's like that old comic thing where it's like Captain America face fascist because he was going with the government stuff, and then he stops wearing his helmet for the rest of the movie and stuff. It's like actually interesting. That scene's cut
Okay.
apparently. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really random example. It's not important. It was just the only one I could think of right
Okay.
now. But yeah, sometimes shit just gets cut for like no reason. I think it's not worth like I don't know runtime or something. It's dumb.
Did
Yeah,
you?
because that scene was really confusing. You're
Yeah.
right in the original uh,
With
that episode.
with the Doctor being mean to her to cut the psychic link or whatever that it was, cut the psychic link, wasn't it? The briefcase.
Yeah, yeah.
He Chudi executed like he acted that very well, but did you catch him smiling a bit while he was doing it? I don't.
I thought he was trying to be like vicious or I don't know what the word is, cruel
Maybe
by like smiling about it. That could just be me. I don't know. He might have been breaking up a little bit. I honestly don't know.
because like maybe
You
I'm
know?
overthinking it a
Um,
bit, but it didn't. It felt a bit It didn't feel not maybe disingenuous. It didn't feel right for the character to maybe if. I mean, I didn't consider he might
yeah,
have just been putting it on to be extra mean, but it doesn't. It didn't feel right for him to visibly take glee in being mean to someone.
yeah. It does seem like a bit much. I don't really know what the point was. I was just excited that I actually saw something else than like random optimism and slightly scared face that we've
Or
gotten from this
crying.
Doctor, to be honest. Or crying.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, but you're right. It's a bit strange. Like it doesn't fit super well. I just hope that I was right about him being vindictive. But even then, that's a bit rude. Maybe if there was like a "oh, this isn't working" thing, then he would get extra mean. But they didn't
Yeah.
do that. So
It
you know what
felt
I mean?
Anyway, it
Yeah.
just felt like a very unnecessary moment. I agree. It was great to see that range, but I'm sure he could have resolved that in some other way. Like it didn't feel right for the Doctor just to be acting like that on a whim.
Yeah. Should we? I think the one more thing I wanted to say about Anita. Um, she's like really chill about all of the weird shit that happens in the whole episode.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I feel like that makes no like doesn't really make much sense. I think there's only so much you can cover with I'm customer service, so I don't really care what's happening. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Especially in the beginning when there's a lizard man in the room and another two random men in like a woman's room. She doesn't know who they are. You know what I mean? I don't. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what
No,
I
I agree
mean.
with that.
There's a lot of and then when he's explaining the stories to because he mentions weeping angels
Mm-hmm.
to her in passing. He tells her different stories. She doesn't seem shocked by much of it, just like excited to
Yeah.
hear about it. It makes me feel like she's more than like they've been really butchering that whole like being wondrous about everything that companions should have in their early parts. I guess that's because she doesn't get to be a companion,
Yeah.
God damn it. But it doesn't. Her character seems a little bit off or disingenuous to me because she doesn't react in a way I find realistic. She's too accepting of abnormal
Yeah.
behavior. But like I said, magical random bullshit seems very
Yeah.
common now.
Look.
I don't know. It feels like honestly we've pushed from the Doctor is kind of a secret, kind of not, to full the Doctor is pretty normal in society just because people are acting differently towards him. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they don't know about him, but it seems like they know more about random weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they don't care.
See,
You know what I mean? I
if
don't.
she was allowed to become the companion for the next season, you could have made something of that. Like, there's a reason she's not reacting to this stuff, which I think has been done before in the.
Done
But
before,
yeah,
yeah.
I
They
think in the
probably have.
Eighth Doctor's audio is one of his companions, is like that. But you can do that again. There's nothing wrong with that. That could be
Yeah.
interesting.
There's so many. I think I've talked to you about this before. The only trope I don't want them to do for a long amount of time is something similar to Clara's because it would make that one less special, and a lot of people didn't like it. Personally, I'm pretty okay with it overall, but just don't touch
No,
that one,
no.
and we're probably good. Which annoys me because Ruby is the closest to that cliche out of anyone else, like that dynamic. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, because she's got all this mystic shit going on with her, and it's like the same kind of thing that they had. I really don't like Ruby. Why'd she show up in this episode for 2 milliseconds, by the
Well,
way?
because she's coming back in the next season,
At the end.
so they need to tease it.
Ah! She's the same woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, like, she got revealed to be still in the show. That's crazy reveal. Is there anything else worth talking about in the main stuff? Oh yeah, what the fuck happened to Joy's mother? Did she absorb her so that they could talk and live
I
together since she
think
was
that
going
was
to
the
die anyway?
implication. They used the same particle effects for everyone else being incinerated.
That's what I thought, but it's a very random thing to
Yeah.
happen. You know what I mean? That she can just do that. I mean, if you want to get really fucking out of whack with it, could we consider this some kind of digital heaven that she should invite like every living thing to go into?
Yeah,
You know?
seems like this seems like
Whatever.
a huge change to the universe.
Bit of
just
lore
leave
drop.
hanging there.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll get like that Mavity kind of thing where there's a big star in a lot of places, but the problem with that is that people will in 30 years will not continue doing that, and I don't blame them, like if the show goes on that long. So then it just gets slowly like no one cares anymore because it shouldn't be that memorable, like because it's not that cool. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that much. If I spent more time with some of the characters that died to make it, then maybe it would be more interesting. But
Yeah.
there's also like There's nothing. Apparently, Villain Guard just doesn't control the star anymore or something. I don't know because they control it. The
No, I
people. I
didn't
don't. But
catch any of that.
whatever.
That was very vague.
They said they said random shit like we won't die, we'll change,
Yeah.
and that Villain Guard aren't anything. They don't matter. Which is not exactly the best way to talk about a villain that you might be setting up,
Yeah.
to be honest. Oh, don't worry about it, because it will never be a problem.
I don't even know
You know what I mean?
they're going to work Villain Guard into it because they were destroyed during the Time War.
They might
so
not. It might just be
I
a.
don't know.
It might just be a reference at this point. But then I guess you would say, how are they still around? But then it's like time before the Time War. I don't know. Well, they never talk about that. When the Doctor fixes the Time War stuff, did he just fix Gallifrey and the nice stuff, or everything?
No, he didn't.
That's a
fix
whole other
the Time
confusing thing.
War. It all still happened.
Well, yeah, I know. It's a whole thing, timeline stuff. You know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole other thing at this point. I don't. None of. Ugh, it's so confusing nowadays. Because it doesn't matter how many times you tell me what the flux is, I keep forgetting. Like half the universe got blown up or something. See, Doctor Who's gone really weird ever since Chibnall got in charge. Do you want to talk about the worst part of this episode, which is easily the dialogue / jokes?
Yeah, we can do that. I admit
really aren't funny.
A lot of it. I didn't note any bad dialogue. I just kind of accepted it. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, so the food server thing. What was it like?
A cheese toasty and a pumpkin latte.
So my problem with that is, one, the joke wasn't like, it's not particularly funny. It was kind of okay when they first did it, but then they did it twice because of the, you know what I mean? But I think this is a problem with this episode that I didn't really notice with that much. I did notice it a little bit. And I think it's an overall problem that they're getting, is that this dialogue feels incredibly modern. It's very strange. I feel like some of the older why am I forgetting the name of everything? The New Who, felt a bit more timeless. Obviously, you can find some 2000ness in there, don't get me wrong, but with modern dialogue, like, I know they didn't actually call it a pumpkin spice latte, but, that's basically what it... you know what I mean? It's just... it feels very modern, and I don't like that. I also don't like how everything has to be in 2024 throughout the season. Is that a thing all the time? Is every Christmas episode on the year that came out? I don't think so. Okay. I don't know. I just find that particular thing to be boring. We spend a lot of time
Christmas special was on an alien planet. It's the
okay.
What's it called? Oh my god, I forgot the name. It's the Dickens story. With the one with Scrooge.
Oh, right, okay.
Why am I not remembering that? Oh god, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, okay.
You all know what I'm talking about.
It's fine.
A Christmas Carol.
We know.
There we go.
But yeah. So I didn't. I think that some of that is bad. Like, I liked the cup is bigger on the inside when he gives him the coffee. But then they keep using that joke over and over again.
Look, when he does it with the microwave
and the car, I like when they do it. Yeah. I guess the thing is I kind of like the car thing, but it's kind of a dickhead thing to do to someone. Also, if you're not going to make a whole mini-series about it, then can you fuck off with the magical car thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, thanks for making a magical car, I guess. It doesn't matter. That's the thing, is it feels like a lot of stuff has no stakes anymore. Or, like, they don't expand on anything interesting. It's kind of like when the Doctor had a daughter randomly in that Tenet story, and it's never come up again except for comics, I think. Or maybe audio dramas. I can't remember.
You don't think for a second Well, you would think for a second Big Finish would capitalize on that as soon as they could.
Yeah. Um, that's the whole thing. And also, I might be wrong, but I feel like the choice to add a Silurian?
Silurian, yeah.
Silurian? Silurian was like a deliberate choice to make people remember that random people live on Earth, like for the sea demons, sea
Probably,
devils,
yeah.
whatever it is show. Land between the Earth and the
War.
sea, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that all that shit which no one cares about.
Mm-hmm.
You know you know what I mean? Oh, I forgot to mention this is like one of the no, we'll keep with
Okay.
dialogue
I have
first,
to. I want to go
actually.
back on your point quickly about the dialogue being dated, but it's actually a big problem for the Doctor to be dated because,
Yeah, to be so dated because he's supposed to be. He goes to every time period. He's kind of cultureless, but that's
like,
what
it's
his culture
fine.
is.
It's
Like,
fine for the character to use the lingo of the period, but they shouldn't be flouting it like it's second nature to them.
yeah, there's been plenty of times throughout the show where, in terms of words, the Doctor has not been super confident when talking
Yeah.
to people, especially like
Yeah.
kids and stuff. Then he will sometimes, it depends which incarnation, will be more confident a bit, but oftentimes they do end up floundering with like some
Yeah.
of that stuff, and it's probably more interesting that way a lot of the time. Not seeing a cool dynamic with any of this. The Doctor just seems a little extra
Mm-hmm.
normal, like just like a normal guy, a little too much maybe. I don't know. So the whole mansplain joke, or is that even a joke,
I
or is that
think
like a
it's meant to be
comment?
a joke. I don't see any commentary there.
That's what I look. I don't know the ins and outs of the writers of the episode. Obviously, Moffat was the main person in charge. I'm sure there were a couple people doing little things, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know, like
I mean,
dialogue
Russell definitely
stuff.
got in there.
Feels
Yes.
condescending for a man to write that line. Just maybe. I don't know. Also, no one uses the word mansplaining really
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Unless you're like on some like chronically online TikTok stuff. I've not really seen that much in real life. I don't think. Bit
Yeah.
random. That's not my main point with the problem though. That's not my main point of contention with this set of jokes because it's actually where the most shitty jokes are in the whole thing. Because then it talks about actually that's not a lizard person. It's a Silurian. Don't say that. And it's like, which I think if that was just the joke, if there was no mansplaining joke, and they were just like, there's a lizard guy, and she actually out wokeness her or something, that might be fine, you know, even though it's a pretty stupid joke.
Mm-hmm.
Still, then sorry, I know this sounds like I'm saying random bullshit, but trust me, there's
Yeah.
a reason. The joke keeps getting worse because then they talk about I've seen weird things in the hotels. What are you guys doing? And then he says the flesh will rise, the
Yeah.
sun, you know what I mean? And he's like, don't be gross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, I know they were just making a joke because he's an alien looking lizard guy, but it kind of hits on that old, gay people are weird and gross and do weird things to each other. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird because they mention this. I don't think that's what he actually meant. I want to keep it clear, but it comes off not very good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For Moffat on that one, I don't think that's what he meant. I think he was just supposed to be funny, but it goes into that oh haha funny gay people a thing. I think a little bit that was more prevalent in like the 2000s,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. Probably reading into it a
Yeah.
little
No,
too much,
I see
though.
what
I
you're
want to be
saying.
clear. Not that
If
bad. But I personally don't like
no,
that joke.
look,
I think it's a shit
if
joke.
they were going to do a joke about it looking like a weird kink thing was going on, like it, I'm still not saying this is ideal. It's not a good
Yeah,
joke, but if Anita walked into the room and she just kind of stood as like, "Oh, sorry guys, I'll leave you to it." The implication being like there's a weird sex thing going on there. Not a great
yeah,
joke, but it makes more
yeah.
sense. But yeah, I don't know what they were going
Yeah,
for.
that's what they were going for, but it really
Yeah,
falls over. Also, the fact that they have like five jokes in this one sentence, and it's near
yeah,
the beginning, really annoys me. Like the way I wrote it in my notes, where it's one shit joke, another shit joke. That's actually how it plays in this. in the
Did you
scene.
notice
It's
even after
terrible.
that, when Joy is possessed by the briefcase, he tells her that she's being mansplained by the briefcase, which doesn't make any sense, even in the definition of the word.
Yeah. Also, the doctor says he's like always mansplaining, which at one point, like there's always something like there's always mansplaining when I'm around or some shit. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. That was like that's part of the this feels really modern and random
Yeah.
thing. Similar to in the others in the earlier specials, the 60th, when Donna's daughter and no, it was Donna, but she was there, and it was like,
Oh, don't.
you know, you would never get it because
Don't.
you're not a woman.
Don't.
You're not a, which is actually really kind of, if you think about it, anti-trans. If you really, I still hate that joke
It's
so
not.
much.
I don't even know if
Well,
it's a
comment.
joke.
It
I
makes
don't know
no
what
sense.
it's meant. Oh my god.
It well, but that's the vibe I get from like 3 instances of the word mansplaining being used. It feels like old men trying to be progressive but not getting it.
It
You know
would,
what I mean? Which really is why I think they're trying to use modern slang or update the show, and I'm like, it does not need it. And it's weird that you guys are trying to do this.
I guess they're
You know
trying
what
to
I mean?
make it hip for the or up to date for the young hip American kids who are meant to be watching this, but they're not watching
Oh
it.
yeah, I forgot there's supposed to be more. They're not watching it. Yeah, I forgot there was supposed to be an American shift because of Disney Plus. Yeah, that might be affecting the writing, or at least the writing choices. Yeah, I didn't think
It
about
would
that.
make
Yeah,
more
that's
sense
fair.
if the doctor walked into the room and like was vaguely confused by like terminology like mansplaining because it's so era specific. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just felt very odd for him
I
to
don't
just
know.
jump on that immediately. And like Ada, like you said, it's not. It doesn't get any funnier. It wasn't funny in the first place.
Oh yeah, and just generally, overall, I felt like a lot of the comedy relied on haha, random, funny, lol kind of humor, where something goofy happens, and then that's the joke.
Like the bit with the
I personally never liked that
like
very
the bit
much.
with the T-Rex attacking.
But yeah,
It's like it's a stupid adventure serial thing to
yeah.
happen, but
The one
it
thing
made no sense.
yeah, the one thing I will say about the dinosaur is that you can really see the Disney budget on that one because it looked good, but it was only on screen for 3 seconds, so maybe it would have looked a lot shitter. I don't know if it stayed on screen for too long. You know, one thing this is one of not part of the main stuff, but a side note because it's really weirding me out. I'm like, is this a theory? Why is there a home in a place 65 million years ago? Is the master setting up something? Please be the master and not something lame. It's going to be something lame. If I might be reading too much into it. I thought it might be like a Mrs. Flood situation. Yeah, like someone's built a proper house 65
I know
million
what
years
you
ago.
mean. I think okay, we don't know how the hotel works like
It works
integrally,
100%. But it seems like someone has to be
yeah,
there though. It feels like
so.
That's what it seems like. Or like they had to have at some point because it's about all of human history. So that's why it's really confusing. Are they setting something up, or did they just not think
I
about
don't think
it?
that's a setup for anything. It would make more sense if they just walked out into a cave on the top of a cliff or something. You could still have that same setup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they said that about the Stone Age stuff. Oh, they could have referenced the Doctor's first story. Well, technically second, but first real story because, you know, the first part is a setup for that story.
Yeah.
Like the second serial, I'm forgetting the name. Look, the Doctor helps discover fire, but people already figured it out. It's a whole thing. But that could have been cool. Oh right. So sorry, no. What were you
who's
gonna
gonna
say?
bash a caveman's head in with a rock this time?
Sorry, I was just I've lost it now. There was something I was gonna say and I've forgotten it. Oh right, I would have bought the Doctor being more lonely if he actually brought up Susan, considering he had a real chance of maybe meeting her because he thought that Susan might be the Susan. from the series 1. But they don't bring Susan up again for him to be lonely. Wouldn't that make more sense, considering that's the newest thing that's happened to him in terms of major family stuff? Like, who cares about Ruby? She's alive and well. It's Susan that you haven't seen in a very long time. But maybe I don't want them to touch Susan stuff because that retcons Eighth Doctor audio dramas. I don't know, whatever.
It doesn't necessarily retcon it, but yeah, it depends what they do. Because I think she participated in the Time War, and then we don't know what happened after that. So presumably, the Doctor's assuming she's dead, but it could be, I don't know. We don't know what Russell's going to do with it. Oh.
Okay. I will say this. The interior sets and the location shots and the building designs, all the setting stuff was good. That's probably Disney budget right there. It was like the most interesting part of the film. It's not really a film. It's not really an episode. It's just a special, I guess, because that's what they call them. But that was probably the most interesting part of it, is that it looks cool. At least interesting.
I just have to say quickly, I don't think, even though the sets were very good, they weren't always portrayed in the best way, because a lot of the as we've come to expect from this new era, a lot of the lighting, the camera work, not
very bright, almost no shadow work at all. It kind of is too lit up.
It's like probably. The latest season, bar a few exceptions, has really been lit like a soap opera or something. It's just not very inspired.
Yeah.
Especially
definitely
after Whittaker's era, which was, for all of its faults, visually fairly pretty stunning.
Yeah, at least it was definitely had some more interesting stuff with the lighting going on. Okay. So I don't know if you noticed this, but when you click into Disney Plus, there's a little preview thing. It says play or play the trailer or the extra details. There's a photo that shows up for the special. It looks terrible. Did you notice this?
I did, yeah.
It's a photo of the Doctor. I don't know what they did to Shooty, but they've got his lips poking out. But the thing is that his his moustache doesn't go over his lips, so that it looks like they're just on top of his lips, and it makes his lips look like they've been bruised. But also the angle of his face kind of makes his eyes look wonky, and he just looks really ugly. And we know he's not an ugly man, not really. Average. Kind of what I'm trying to say. He's a fairly attractive looking man, but in that photo he looks terrible. I don't know who was the photographer for that one, but it's a really shitty studio portrait. You can also tell it's a studio portrait because none of that scene doesn't exist. With them all in that kind of, you know what I mean? It looks, but it looks like a studio portrait as well. It's fairly not good. Yeah, I don't know. That just kind of, to me, shows a lack of quality control. Oh yeah, the Doctor, when he's in the hotel for the year with Anita, he makes a broom move, but brooms are made out of wood, and the one rule of the sonic screwdriver is that it can't do anything on wood. I'm confused, Logan.
I'm probably missing something, but it doesn't fully make sense for the sonic screwdriver to make something levitate like that. It can...
Even if it was made out of metal,
it doesn't make much sense. Screws and things like that. That's a small degree of levitation, I guess, but something like that didn't make any sense.
Well, I always thought it was it would work more like magnetism. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that made no sense. There's the tiniest bit of metal in the middle of the hilt, but I don't think that's what the point of it was. From where the stick is to where the broom is, if you know what I mean. There's a metal thing, but it doesn't make any sense. And they treat the screwdriver really weird in the show. Lately, in this episode, they called it a buzzy thing or something, a beeping thing.
Buzzy thing.
It doesn't look like a screwdriver. I don't care. TV remote R. I kind of just wish they didn't stand on that. If they just said, "Yeah, I know it's a bit of a weird design choice," but no, they act like it's really cool.
Or just don't call it a screwdriver. Just call it a sonic something else.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but that's like I think all my notes really.
Pretty much. There was one small thing I noticed. It wasn't like where special effects weren't implemented properly, where they should have been. When Trev was
Oh, right.
dying, he was looking at his hands, and you could clearly see his fingers in frame. Like he was looking at them; they were meant to be the focus. And I think in that moment, the director was at least saying like your hands are deteriorating slowly, so you're dying. You know you're dying, but he didn't. His hand didn't start disappearing until after that shot. It was just a bit awkward. It's a small
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
but
okay.
like it's like
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
communication.
Doesn't sell it very well. Yeah. The one thing I will say, just that I kind of forgot about, is I kind of like, even though it's a bit weird timey-wimey, that the different places that we have been throughout the episode in the rooms all have their own little affected line because of the
Mm-hmm.
star, which is interesting. Still a bit cliche and cringe, but you know, hope core. It's Christmas, so it
Yeah.
makes sense. I guess the one other thing I will mention is it's actually I don't know if they're setting anything up here or if it's just they did do this a bit in the other season as well. I don't know if they're just trying to make it more that they're being overtly like pro LGBT or not, but it comes up two more times in this one, but in like a more positive light. There's like the one where he's like, "I don't have a boyfriend at the moment,"
Mm-hmm.
talking to Annie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're both lonely people for real. And then there's that girl that was going to write a letter to
Yeah.
another girl. Um, this is not a criticism. I just find it weird that there was like such a terrible joke about gay people. Like, I know that's not what it was meant to do, but it feels really. I don't know if they know that maybe they want to hire like someone a bit younger or something
Mm-hmm.
to like check if this makes sense or looks good because it was weird that being brought up two more times after that terrible
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Um, Also, since Rogue probably isn't coming back, it kind of just feels like an odd opportunity because although technically every Doctor has been known to not really care about gender identity in terms of it just doesn't matter on their society, like we've been told in Capaldi's era, this one seemed the most overtly gay, and I don't think it's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, besides that one kiss with Rogue, which was more of like a,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Which I guess doesn't matter. It's just I don't know. This is what I'm saying is that a lot of it feels directionless at this point. I don't know. Am I supposed to be connecting to anything or like trying to piece things together, like with the house, really nice house thing being built millions
Mm-hmm.
of years ago and everything? Is this just really
Yeah.
inconsistent writing, or are they building to
It
something?
it
You
felt
know what I mean?
especially odd that we didn't get some introduction to the companion or even a cliffhanger leading into the next episode.
Yeah, that's why I thought Anita would be because the Christmas episode is a perfect time to
Yeah.
put in a new one. Um, Especially with the theme of him being lonely and needing
Mm-hmm.
hope. And that's kind of what Anita gave him, waiting every day for to be able to fix the time loop and
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean? So really missed opportunity. Probably have to do with I wouldn't call it infighting, but one person clearly has the reins, and the other one gets to write a couple
Yeah.
episodes a season.
I
Which,
I think
yeah, I mean, even then, Moffat's only doing kind of
yeah.
okay. I mean, Rogue wasn't even him. That was one of the lesser known
I believe it
writers.
was
Boom was all right. Boom was pretty
yeah.
good. Anyway,
I
sorry.
was
Yeah.
to say I think people who wrote Rogue were in charge of Loki, or some writers of Loki at least. Not in
Oh
charge,
right.
just writers of Loki.
Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Disney ecosystem. Oh, I mean, I'm kind of happy for the Loki writers, I guess, or smaller writers. But yeah, I'm guessing that's a Disney ecosystem thing, which might not bear super well if they get some shit
Yeah.
writers in. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I don't know. Should we just talk about our
Yeah, I
rating?
guess
I
so.
guess, unless there's anything
Uh,
else, because I feel like that's
yeah.
all
Do you
there
want
is.
to go?
I'm probably I'm split between like 5 or 4 because I feel like it's serviceable. It I wouldn't probably watch it again, but it justifies its own existence artistically. Probably not on a money basis if you think how much this thing probably cost to put together. So I guess 4.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
I'm exactly.
What did you think?
I think I'm exactly the same. I'm either a 40 or a 45.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's everything.
Awesome.
Oh wait,
yeah.
Oh, wait. So, one thing I just realized in our last episode, you forgot you forgot to connect Doctor Who to the to the to the to the X-Men
crap.
show. You forgot. Also, how are you gonna connect Doctor Who to Doctor Who in this episode?
I think Doctor Who is canonically maybe connected to the Marvel universe in some degree. So there you go.
I do believe they yeah, there's like a spin-off thing,
I think the
or like
Fourth
a
Doctor met a Marvel character at some point.
yeah. It's probably one of those. They do it every now and then. There's like a DC Marvel continuity as well. You can just shove stuff into it because no one will care because it's in just one random universe in Marvel. But yeah, okay, good job for that one. You did that one on the fly.
I totally forgot we were doing that. I've got to get back on. I've got to connect Pixar movies now. Oh my god.
I'm sure someone worked on something. Or there's some reference to Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is mainstream media, even though it's a little obscure, and it is Pixar movies, so hopefully there's something.
Yeah, I need to start thinking about it. I'm sure I'll find something.
There's probably a TARDIS in one of those movies.
I don't know about that.
Like a toy TARDIS. Probably, maybe not, I don't know, we'll see.
Pretty niche.
I guess that's everything.
Alright. I think let's just go. Thank you, the nobody who made it this far. We appreciate your support.
Yeah. Guess what, guys? This video was actually longer on the inside.
Whoa.
Boom. Mic drop.